Okay, so when you're trying to repair cracks around cornices, and probably the sort of the poor man's solution is to just use some gap filler and cork it in. But that's not ideal. That's not what it was designed for. You should really ideally use cornice cement. Okay, so clean out those cracks, remove whatever loose stuff is in there, and clean it, wash it out as best as you can, and you use so open it up a little bit and use cornice cement instead. And there are two kinds of cornice cement on the market. And for the bigger cracks, which I've already filled, I've used the setting cornice cement, which comes in a bag and you've got to mix it with water. I'll show you. I mean, you'll probably know what it is, but anyway. So there's this is a DIY version because I didn't need a lot. So there's it comes in bigger bags as well, like 10 kilos or whatever. So this is the setting cornice cement. So it's got about an hour setting time, but it doesn't really stay workable for that long, depending on temperature or whatever. But this product is the ideal way to do it if the cracks are big enough, because if the cracks are too small, then if you put this stuff in there, then it will dry too quickly, and it will dry, especially if it's not too cold. It will dry before it sets, and you don't want that's something you need to avoid with all kinds of setting compounds, base coat, cornice cement, whatever. You got to make sure that they stay wet until they actually harden. Okay, and you can't really make sure that you can't ensure that if you're only just filling tiny little cracks. So, sometimes cracks can just be filled with the primer paint, but so I'll try to. I mean, there's tiny little cracks that you might be able to see up there. I don't know, probably not because hard. Yeah, I can't find anything here at the moment that I wouldn't need to fill. But oh yeah, they're up there. Ooh, well, I don't know. It doesn't show up very well on the camera. It's just a bloody phone. Well, I can't see it at the moment, but I've seen some cracks that I thought I didn't need. Sometimes what happens is when people use gap filler, like they've used all around here, so you might be able to see that it has cracked. And what happens is, especially on ceilings, when you apply ceiling paint on top of gap filler, which hasn't had enough time to dry. So I mean, gap filler, should probably needs about a couple of days to dry if you're gonna paint over it with ceiling paint, because otherwise it will crack from the stress. Because gap filler shrinks as it dries, and ceiling paint is doesn't really have that strong, that good flexibility and cohesion to be able to withstand that stress, and as a result it will crack, and that's what you see there. But that crack is small enough to so you'd be able to fill it later sometime, on the next paint job, like what's going on here. I'll be able to just fill that with a decent quality primer, and that will never crack again. I mean, unless the house moves or whatever. But these bigger cracks, you can't just fill it with paint or primer. You need cornice cement, and these cracks are probably not big enough to use the setting cornice cement, but the air drying cornice cement instead, because there's no danger of the setting compound drying out before it sets. So instead, I'd use this pre-mixed cornice cement, which pre-mixed, it means that you don't have to add water. It already comes already mixed in a bucket, and it hardens as it dries, as it loses moisture. Okay, so it's a different process, and it's a weaker product, so not as strong in terms of adhesion and strength as the setting cornice cement, but it's still better than if you were to apply the setting compound and if it were to dry out before it sets, if you're following me. Okay, so I recommend using this instead of the setting compound if you're filling small cracks. Okay. Hope that made a little bit of sense. Have a good day. Bye.